So it's Russell.
Okay, yeah, so that was someone different than I was thinking for
That
sure.
was definitely different than you were thinking.
Yeah, definitely.
D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, D'Angelo Russell, I think I probably had him higher on my list, I believe. That's probably why I thought um, it was someone
Yeah.
different at this position. Not that I think who's likely above him is a bad choice for it either. Russell just again is one of the best offensively minded shooting guards. He's not the worst on the defensive end. He obviously has gotten better over time, but he's really just come into his own. I'd say the last couple of years in terms of being able to find ways to put the ball in the net, also get his teammates involved as well. So I've been pretty impressed with D'Angelo Russell over the first couple or the last couple of years, especially because of how bad his first couple of years in the league were as well.
Yeah, and for me, what puts him apart, like you said, when he first started, when he was with LA, he was part of a lot of controversy there. They were really underperforming. You look back at those guys now, and if they would have kept those guys together, we're talking like OKC 2012 kind of level. They had that kind of potential. If you really look back and think about it, between Ingram, Ball is still a very good player. Um, Kuzma, I know he gets a lot of grief. He didn't play very good last year, but if you don't put him on a team with three players that are better than him at his position, then he still does pretty good.
Josh.
And Josh Hart, yeah, they had a pretty good squad. They got limited because they overpaid for Luol Deng, which limited their salary cap, which limited them being able to bring in a productive veteran to help them actually win games. But that's enough about that foursome, what team that could have been. All I know is that whenever we're talking about Russell, he's number 9 in our list. Number 10, we had Sexton, of course. So Russell is just on another level with Sexton. He is whatever Sexton is good at, Russell is better at it, and that's even on defense. Like Russell's not a great defensive player. He's probably the one of the in the top 10. He's not. He's closer to the bottom of that list than he is to the middle. That's for sure. So he's not really an all-star on defense, but he's passable. He's gotten better over a couple of years. That's what I think Sexton can get to eventually, but he's not there yet. And when you're looking at shooting, Russell's a proven 22 point per game scorer. And like him and Karl-Anthony Towns are going to do really, really well together next year, and it's really going to turn into Russell's team there. I see him already better than Sexton in that category as well. And then when we're talking about playmaking, Russell has finally come into his own. And as much as we're talking that Ricky Rubio is going to be the point guard of that team, Russell's going to split the minutes with Rubio. He's going to lead the floor whenever Rubio is not on the floor. And to be honest, Russell playing with a veteran like Rubio, who's a worthy candidate of 7 to 9 assists per game any given night, it's gonna be actually improve Russell's playmaking and IQ. You get better whenever you play with better players, and that's something that I think that he's really gonna rub off on Russell, and he'll actually become a better player in that category as well. So I think that this is a good spot for him. He can even go a couple spots higher. He could even get. I don't know if he reaches the top 5, considering that level that we have at the top 5, but he could definitely be at number 6 or 7 for the rest of his career, potentially even in the top 5. But he's definitely on just another echelon than a player like Sexton at this moment.
Yeah, and that's kind of a couple of things there. Like you said, for Colin Sexton to move up, it is going to take a lot, not only because of how good D'Angelo Russell is, but also because he is very young as well. It's not like it's in a situation where Russell is going to be on the decline in a year or two. Sexton has a huge ability to move up. D'Angelo Russell is only a couple years older in reality. He was a first overall pick, or I believe it was a first overall pick within the last 5 years. So it's a guy who hasn't been in the league that long, and clearly he's already found himself to be pretty established. And like you said about Minnesota, obviously with Rubio, but also the fact that he gets to play alongside Karl-Anthony Towns.
Good friend.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a situation that he could find himself in and really thrive. Hopefully, he's going to enjoy playing there. In terms of his splits last month or last year, he really only had 2 bad months, and ironically, it was the 2 bad months where there wasn't as many games. October and March were his 2 worst months. Everything in between, he had about 22, 23 points per game.
Not the kind of player he is.
Yeah, he even had 29 points per game in November, I believe it was, which was a pretty busy month for them. So the fact that he's able to do that at some aspect, he's able to month over month put up 22, 23, and 6 a game. Yeah, I mean, D'Angelo Russell at the 9 spot, I think I had him a couple spots higher, but he's very deserving of a top 10 regardless.
So he was not the number 1 overall pick, but it was 5 years ago. It was in 2015 draft. He was the number 2 overall pick
Number two.
behind good friend Karl-Anthony Towns.
There you go.
Imagine that.
Yeah, so there you go.
Imagine that.
And look at that. That's something that I feel like a lot of people, they say they're friends, but they forget that Minnesota now has the number 1 overall and number 2 overall pick from the 2015 NBA
A
draft.
very successful draft as well. Devin Booker was in that draft as well, which is why some of the rumors had of all 3 of those players teaming up because they were our friends for a long time. But I think that's what's going to set Russell and Towns apart next year, is that they do have a certain chemistry that takes a long time to build. And I think that they've already established that. In the first year, it took a little while. Russell got there a little late throughout the season, but now that they've had a full season off, I think they'll make some noise this year.
Yeah, definitely. And with Russell too, ironically, he actually did have a couple listings at forward, or sorry, not a couple. He had one game that he started small forward, and he actually did really well. He had 24 points per game, 24 points in that game, 5 assists, 6 rebounds. Obviously, this is not something you want consistently, but the fact that he's shown somewhat of an ability to play 3 different positions, that again is a very good player in its own right.
I don't know if he ever slots in at small forward. I think that's an emergency case scenario. I don't think they're going to need that this year, considering all the players. It's like doable, like it is for Kyle Lowry. Doable.
Yeah, but either way, again, it just shows how versatile offensively.
No, he's a great player offensively, and he's definitely improving defensively every year. And it's funny we had him at number 9 because at number 8 we had a player that you probably thought was number 9. You definitely thought I would not have valued this player as highly as I did. I don't know why. I think you think that I value